Hi, how are we all? It's Melissa here for this episode of Soul Speak. Now, this week I am going for the first time live on my personal page. So I am just going to let people come in and join and get acquainted, and it would probably be a good idea to tag some people on my page. So give me a moment. If you're here, come along, say hello, let me know how you're doing. The beady-eyed ones of you will see something in my in the comments here, so that's something nice for you. And I also promised that I would tag some people, and Facebook today, I think today, decided to change the way that we do live. So you're just going to have to bear with me a minute, and I'm just going to have to hope that this works, because it might and it might not. So let's see if it's going to let me tag. But how's everyone doing? Oh, hey, Lindsay, do you know what? That's weird. I was just tagging you. So I don't need to now. No, it's not going to let me. That's okay. I'll just have to tag you later in a post. Anyway, how are we all doing? I'm Melissa, and I'm going to want to talk to you today about our clair essence. So for the last 12 weeks, we've been working on Soul Speak, each week taking a different approach. Hey Matt, yes, sorry, I've decided to come on my personal page this time just to see if it works any better, because I find on my page it sometimes restricts the reach, and I was trying to tag everybody like I promised you last week, but I don't know, I'm not sure Facebook will let me, and I don't want to be faffing around while I'm on here. Oh, here we go, look. Oh, it's letting me do it. So let me see. Sorry, won't be a minute. Okay, I'm just going to tag a couple of you that asked me to, because as some of you know, I have been working on some lovely offerings, and I want to make sure that they get out to you. So what would be awesome, if you know anybody who is interested in this, then please send them a link. Invite them on here, and if you're watching the replay, just give me a hashtag replay. If you're on the live, give me a live, let me know you're here, and hopefully, I don't know if you can even see me, but right, this is the last tag, I promise. Okay, that's it. It's what I'm doing. It's what I'm doing now. So yeah, welcome on board. So yes, tonight I wanted to talk about clair essence, because I think many people wonder how we approach becoming more intuitive, how we actually speak to the divine, and whether it is that we are using our imaginations, or whether it is that we are thank you, Mac. Whether it is that we are actually having some sort of commune with spirit, or with our soul, or with our intuition, or anything like that. So, you know, as you're watching this, if you have any questions, if anything comes up, if you have any insights, please pop them on here. I would love to answer anything that you have. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about what comes in around this. So, this is my experience with the clairs, because I always thought that when we are, you know, when we're working in the psychic realm, or if we're becoming intuitive, or if we are, you know, starting to develop That this is something, I don't know, like I literally thought that when I was doing mediumship that I would like see a being standing there, or when I was connecting with the angelic realm, that I would see an angel sitting out in front of me. And I think that, and we often hear that, oh, I saw an angel at the end of my bed, or I heard this voice coming from the heavens. And I think that we have this expectation that things are going to come in from outside of us. But my experience is actually very different to that. And this is the perspective that I want to share with you today. So, the clair essence. So my experience is that when we are working in this psychic or in this intuitive field, that spirit or our soul is actually using our imagination. It's using our senses. Now we hear about the sixth sense, and we hear about developing and opening up the sixth sense as if it is something outside of what we already have. However, we have the five senses, which are obviously seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting and smelling. So there are our five natural senses. And so what's the sixth sense? Now you could suggest that the sixth sense is that knowing. Again, I think that's what I sort of thought it would be when I started on this journey. But actually, for me, when I'm coming into this intuitive space, spirit or our soul are using those five senses to deliver messages to us, to to provide us with this inspiration. So how does that work? Yes, for some people who are super in tune or have that have that ability, they may see an angel or a figure or, a past loved one standing there in front of them. Or they may hear that voice that is definitely not in your own voice. But actually for me, it's more inside my head. So it's that inner world that is speaking to me. And that actually works with the five senses that we already have. So for me, when I say, I'm seeing this figure, or I'm seeing this scene in front of me, it's not something that I am seeing outside of my head. It's something that's just like when you use your imagination. So just like when you close your eyes and you remember a holiday that you've been on or an experience that you had, you're closing your eyes and you're immersing yourself in this experience. And it's coming in to you in one of maybe four different ways. So maybe you could do that for me now if you have just a moment of just closing your eyes. And I'm just going to invite you to come into a memory. So perhaps, I know a lot of us haven't done this for a while. So perhaps the last time you were on a holiday. Just close your eyes and just notice what you are experiencing. So as you close your eyes and you're thinking about the holiday, you are inviting that, that sense of relaxation to come over you. Just notice, is it that you are seeing the scene outside in front of you? Is it that you are seeing the sea? Is it that you are hearing the waves crashing against the shore? Is it that you are feeling the sand under your body, or the temperature of the warm sun, or the feeling of the water washing over you? Can you taste or smell the essence of the sea? Or is it something different? You can also notice if you feel like you are in that, if you're experiencing it there from the first person, so you're there and the scene is around you, or if you are seeing yourself in there, or kind of watching yourself being in the scene. So if you're doing that, when you can pull yourself away from that experience, it'd be really cool to know how you experienced it. Were you mainly seeing, Were you mainly hearing? Were you mainly feeling? Because my experience is that however you interpret the world, or however you find yourself, your dominant sense in the real world, when we're using our memory, when we're using our imagination, however we find ourselves then, that is how we tend to experience our psychic senses, or our intuitive senses, or our otherworldly senses. So how about those of you that experience more of a seeing? You give me a blue heart. Those of you who experience more of the feeling, you give me a red heart. And those of you who experience more of a hearing, you give me a green heart. Or just tell me. So Mitza said, my dominant sense is feeling energy. Max said, seeing as an observer and feeling how I felt. Then plus the smell of salt in the air. Okay, wonderful. And I'm getting some red hearts here. So yes, we all experience things differently, and not one is better than another. You'll also find often that whilst you might have a dominant sense, that the other senses start to come in. So I'm seeing some different colours coming in. Exactly. So some of you are showing me two different hearts. I mean, this is brilliant. This really shows me that you're starting to come into your senses. And one of the most useful thing I think I learned when I was sitting in my, development groups was, yes, we have a dominant sense. We have that sense that we are most comfortable with. And I tell you what, when you start developing, this is the sense that spirit are going to use for you. Because of course, they want to communicate with you. They want to help you understand. They don't want it to be this thing that is separate. They want to bring you in. However, as you start to immerse yourself more and trust yourself more, then you can you can start to broaden that. And if you go back into that example of sitting on the beach, or a memory, or even making up that you're sitting there on the beach, you can, for example, if the first thing you do is you see that scene, you see that beach, and you see the blue skies, is then come into, well, how would that make me feel? Can I remember how that feels? And almost activating those senses in your body. And taste the cakes. You know what, Mac? You taste the cakes. It's a lot less calories. So yeah, you can activate those senses. It's not something that you have to wait to be bestowed upon you. You can immerse yourself in that field. If you are, a couple of you said that you were looking at this from outside, so it's like you could see yourself on the beach. If you then imagined yourself, or took you, or let that image draw you in, and then you felt what it would feel like, and go with what's easy for you. If you find it easier to feel the warmth, or to feel the softness of the sand, then go with that. If you find it easier to maybe tune into the sound of the waves, and here's a little hack for that. You can use your breath to do that. So you can literally activate your hearing. And then imagine that your breath is the sound of the waves, and then you can immerse yourself in that more, and you're telling your body that it's safe to go into this imagination. And then you may find that as you are experiencing that, and as you are immersing yourself in that more, brightening up the colors, making it more 3D, seeing things in a sharper, or in a bigger, or in a brighter way, turning up the volume of the sound, turning up the intensity of the feeling that you're in there, that you may then start to taste the salt in the air. Yeah, you will start to experience things more. So for those of you that are watching, that are developing and trying to understand your senses, I want to say, like, don't be I want to use the word victim. I'm not sure that's quite right, but don't be a victim to your um, to your own dominance. Actually work with that. Spend even 5 minutes a day just being in your imagination, and look at dialing up your different senses. So one of the tasks that I gave my mentorship group was to, for 3 minutes a day, just to go into a space in nature, go outside somewhere, and just have a look and notice some of the things that you are seeing. So notice, you're in the forest, or you're in the woods, or you're in the park, or even in your garden, and you're looking out at a tree, and notice what you can see. So maybe you can notice the different colours of the leaves on the tree. Maybe you can see some different flowers. Maybe you can see a little shadow that's coming from the sunshine, or even a dewdrop on the leaf. So just notice 4 or 5 things that you can see around you. And then as you're sitting or standing there, then really come into your physical body and feel what you're feeling. So you can maybe be aware of where the wind is coming. Is it coming from this side or that side? And just be very still and allow yourself to immerse into that feeling of the air. Maybe you can feel the temperature. Maybe you can even go up and touch the tree trunk, or the leaf, or the grass, or maybe you can feel the earth underneath you holding you. So really come in, immerse yourself in the physical world, in the physical senses, and then come into your sound. So what can you hear? There'll be sounds in the foreground. There'll be sounds that you can hear, such as maybe the sound of your breath, maybe the leaves moving in the trees, maybe the kids playing in the background, which, by the way, I can hear right now. Maybe it's maybe it's something more subtle. Maybe you can literally hear the sound of the wind as it kind of blows through your ear. Yeah, and then come into your olfactory senses. So these are your smell and your taste. Maybe you can pick up the smell from the trees, or from the flowers, or from the leaves, or from anything else that might be around you in the park. So just that, like, for me, that's great advice for you. If you're wanting to come into more of your intuition, if you want to hone in your 6th sense, then open up your first 5 senses really every day. If you can, immerse yourself in that and just start to get to know it. And then you close your eyes. And then you close your eyes and you imagine that, you recreate that experience, and you notice what you see, you notice what you feel, you notice what you hear. And this way you are starting to really grow your sensory abilities. And I promise you, if you start to do that, you will become a more rounded, intuitive. The messages and the intuitive hits that you experience, whether that is working with other people, or just taking inspired action for yourself, or even just wanting to be led by intuition, that is a wonderful way of doing it. So who can I see? So Leo, hi, lovely to see you. It's my cousin all the way over in Israel. And Nikki, such a powerful way to be in the present and with nature. Yeah, exactly. Find yourself find yourself allowing, and really, we all walk around so blind to things, right? And we walk around a lot, don't we, with our phones on, or or our head is in another space. And even if we are walking, I know for me that I'm often, planning something. What else can I do? What's going on here? I want to get an answer to this. And so we're kind of up here in our heads. And actually that's not leaving space for our soul or for our intuition to speak to us. So if we can just take that time, here's what I want to say. We are here having a human experience, right? We've chosen to be human this time round. And with that, comes a whole range of joys and also some trials and tribulations, right? But one of the things that is so wonderful, I think, about being here and being human and having this experience is that we have this sensual ability. We can feel the petal of a rose. We can smell it. We can see it. We can see that beauty that's in there. There's so much abundance around us here on this earth. Yet we mainly walk around blindly. And those of us who want to become, more intuitively led, or we're on our spiritual path, are kind of waiting for that thing to come from outside of us. But actually, it's what is within us and our connection to the earth that is actually, like, in some twist of irony or paradoxically, it's our connection that's here that's going to really help us ground in that more spiritual or high vibrational energy. Mac has said, hi Sarah. Mac said, I feel the excitement of taking photos of fishnets, subtle colours, textures, the form creating when piled up in a mound. Yeah, so you can take anything and use that as a meditation. I mean, how many of us, when we're meditating, actually sit and close our eyes and are looking at that internal world, when actually we can meditate also using the external. So we can take a flame and stare at the flame and having that focus coming in, because then what we're doing is we are in some ways it's easier to have something outside of ourselves to look at, to look inside a crystal, or to look at the flame, or to see something like this, see the light bouncing off the refractions of the crystal, and use that as our point of focus, so that we are stilling what's happening in the mind. And then what happens is we are making space for our intuition to enter. And if we have an intention and we've put that out there, I want to understand this, I want to find out more about this, or I just want to be led by my soul, then when we're in those spaces, we can allow for that download to happen. I mean, the truth for me is that spirit is everywhere. And that's not to say there's ghosts walking around everywhere necessarily, but the spirit of the plant, the spirit of the flower, the spirit of even of the solution of what it is that you are working of, it is everywhere. And if you think about the earth and the place that we have here, what do they say, that the answers to all of our problems and the medicines are all there in our local surroundings. So by connecting in with that tree, by connecting in with that flower, by connecting in with that animal that's passed, and just asking, what's the message that you have for us? And then being super open to what experience we're having, to what memories are being pulled up, to what, words are coming in, to what visualizations are coming in, then maybe we will start to receive an answer to the question that we have. Whereas when we're just kind of in our heads, what we're doing is we're coming at it from the viewpoint of the problem. right? And if we're coming at it from the viewpoint of the problem, then we're not really going to get the solution. We're just going to keep maybe reiterating the problem. Does that make sense? So I think it's the answers are often out there in very different forms. And if you want to become a more intuitive, more in tune with your own tuition, if you want to be more in tune with your own soul, if you want to be more in touch with the messages and the guidance that is there for you, our job is to become very open and mindful. Because as we do that, we're sending a message out there, right? To say that we are listening. We're willing to explore. And doesn't it make sense that spirit or our guides or our higher self or whatever it is that you're connecting to, does it not make sense that they will use what we already know? Now, there are obviously, you know, I started to speak about the different ways, and we've spoken about, you know, seeing. So this is your clairvoyance. You've heard about this clairvoyance, and that's normally what you've seen, you know, when we're going to the movies and you're going to see a psychic, we're going to see a clairvoyant, and they can see the future. And this is about seeing. This is about you know, receiving those messages through our visual cortexes. Now that can be that you are in the woods and you are, you know, you see a face on a tree. That can be that you see flickers and orbs around and light flashes around. That can be that you see that spirit standing at the end of your bed. But it can also mean that I see a vision. I see like a video coming across my screen, you know, across my kind of inner vision. Or I imagine colours when I'm doing healing, or when I'm, you know, sitting, there's maybe colours coming to me. But often, yeah, this is in your mind. There's then clairaudience, which is about hearing. So you might think, yes, well, I'm hearing voices in my head, which it could be. But it can also be that you're hearing the whispers of the tree, for example. You're hearing the, I don't know, like you hear a voice in your head that is, and it's, for me, it's in my own voice, but you're hearing a voice in your head that is saying to you something. But it can also be this. We wake up in the morning with that song in our heads. Yeah, or we're going about our daily business and a song comes in and we start singing it and we listen to the words and we're like, goodness me, like that's really relevant to me. It could be that we are drawn to doing chanting or mantra work, and so we're using our voice and our communication to receive or to connect. It can also be that we are, when we get those downloads, how many people get that? When you get that from that. So that is a form of clairaudience. Our job is then to interpret that. And by the way, if you get that, here's a nice tip. Because often we get this and we think, what on earth was that? So you can just almost imagine that you're like unzipping the file. So you're getting this download and just, thank you for, because that's what I think that noise is some sort of download. So just saying like, thank you for giving me this information. I unzip the file. Like make a command from it. Tell spirit what you want to do, or I'm open to the information that's received by me. And then what do? Well, then we come into our senses and we understand what visions are we coming in, what other sounds are coming in, what colors are coming in, what feelings are coming in, what's this bringing up for me. And then we've got clairsentience, which is about feeling. So this again can be just a feeling that we have, or when people say, oh, I've got a bit of a bad feeling about this, or, it didn't feel right in my body. It can also be when we get those goosebumps over us, when something, when spirit come in, or you have a good idea, or somebody says something that resonates with you, and you get this kind of like feeling come up over your body. So that is a form of clairsentience. It can also be a feeling like you have in your body, so if you're doing, for example, if you're doing healing work, you might be scanning a body, and yes, you might feel something in your hands, but you also might feel something in your own body. Or if you're working with somebody else, you might, kind of get a pain or a sensation in your physical body, and it might be giving you a message about the person that is sitting in front of you. It might also be when you are, receiving things for yourself, that you get a feeling, deep in your root, and then that's giving you a communication, or you get an expansion in your heart or a contraction. This is a form of clairsentience where you are discovering, or your body is giving you an idea of what is good, the expansive, or what is not, the kind of contraction feeling. So yeah, we have this we have this clairsentience, which I love, but then we have this other one, which is often very obscure, called claircognizance. And claircognizance, this is it turns out, my dominant strength, and this is when we just kind of know. You've just got a knowing. You don't know how you know. It's not, you've not seen anything, you've not heard anything, you've not felt anything, you just know. You just know. It's almost like you've just got a download coming into you, and you just know something. You just know it's right. Hi, Kerry. So claircognizance for me is it's a kind of a bit obscure, and it's one of those that you really need to learn how to trust, because it is I don't know, there's kind of a vagueness to it. So the more you trust it and the more you work with it, the stronger that will become for you. Now, if you are claircognizant, and you'll know, because you'll just know, it's a knowing. And this is when you go, well, how do you know that? You're like, I don't know, I just do. If you are claircognizant, especially, understanding, developing your other senses can be super powerful, because then you get that knowing, and you're like, okay, how do I know? What can I see? What images are being shown to me? And you come into that. So you're easiest to use your kind of second dominant sense, right? Thanks for the love. Your second dominant sense. So if you're more auditory, then you'll come into, what can I hear? What sounds are coming in? How does that resonate with me? How can I tune into this a little bit more? If you are mainly visual, more visual, then you might sense, I don't know, you might go, okay, well, what can I see? What would that look like for me? How can I visualize this more? What colors do I experience with this? How can I make it brighter and bigger? So you want to come in and tune in, and maybe, how do I say this? Like bigger it out. That's not a word. Make it wider. Give it more depth. That's what I want to say. You want to give it more depth, because then you will start to get that extra information. So if you're doing mediumship, for example, you just kind of know that you've got an uncle here, and because you just know, it just feels like an uncle. Then you'll be like, okay, so I've got this uncle here. What does he look like? What features do I have? And you might see, the eyes of a person that you once knew who had these, deep dark eyes. And so then you can present that. Or you might say, okay, how can I tune into this a little bit more? And you might hear a song, or you might hear this kind of very distinctive voice, for example, or you might hear a memory that comes up. So you can really use this to broaden your experience, so that the person that's sitting in front of you can be like, yes, they can clarify that, or they can confirm that with you. I saw a question come up, so I'm just going to come back to that. I get all of this. How do you know what to work on first, or should I work with all of them? That's from Sarah. I always say to go with your most dominant first. Now, there's different ways that you can know what is your most dominant. So at the beginning of this live, I spoke about coming into a memory. So if you joined me late, then when the replay comes back on in a moment, then you can go back and do that. So I always say start with your dominant feature, your dominant sense, because why would you, we don't want to make it tricky for us, right? We want to make this easy, we want to make this fun, and start simple. And then you will, and you can grow that, you can really kind of come into that. Okay, so I'm sitting in a meditation. I know that I'm quite visual. I know that I can see things. I'm doing a guided meditation, for example, and I'm really going to come into my, to my visualization. So like I said, you want to, whether you're physically there or you're in your imagination, you want to go into more depth. So you see the tree. The tree is green. How tall is the tree? How many different shades of green are the tree? Where is the sun coming on the tree? What other things can I see? What detail can I pick up in there? So really, raising the vibration of what it is that you are experiencing. And once you've got good at that, then you can start to widen up your other senses. That's what I would say. Now, for example, I'm going to grab a card so I can show you an example of this. So I have just picked these kitties because they've got some lovely imagery on the bottom card, exposed and revealed, with the eye on it. So let's just get a card to help make this point. Okay, so here we've got this card, the Waking of the Lion. So how would you use your senses to to get more information from this? Because I know a lot of people who follow me like to use cards. So, for example, here we've got Waking the Lion. So this is the card that's come in, and yes, you might start to get intuitive hits on this. But here we go. Stay with me. Do this with me if you want. You can place your hand on the card, or you can just kind of imagine that you're really tuning into this. So first of all, if you're visual, what am I seeing here? What am I physically seeing from the card in here? So it might be that the nose and the mouth is what's at the forefront for you, what you're noticing first of all. So what images am I seeing first of all? It might be the colours. It's interesting for me because I'm really kind of coming into the yellow today. I'm really feeling that energy. So I've got the tiger's eye on, so I quite like this has come up for me. So am I really drawn to the colours? For me, what I'm seeing is these little stars coming up. They're really popping out for me. So then I come into the stars and I'm like, okay, how can I bring some depth to that? What are the stars doing? Are the stars moving out? Are the stars moving in? Are they getting brighter? Where are they coming from? I might look into his eyes and notice what images come in to my inner eye from there. Now, once I've gathered maybe 4 or 5 different things that I am seeing from this, so I might see, for example, the lion. I might picture the lion in my mind and go, okay, what is the lion doing? Is the lion asleep and waiting for, his lioness to bring the food to him? Or is the lion roaring? Is the lion on the hunt? Is the what is he doing? So I'm starting to create that visual, that picture in my mind. Then I can start to come into my other senses. What else? What can I hear around me? Is the lion roaring? Does he sound like he's, in his power? Is he, yawning and making a growl? Can I hear anything else around him? Maybe I start to get a song in my head. So, I said about the tiger's eye. Maybe I'm getting things like Eye of the Tiger come in, or I don't know. How are my auditory senses coming in here? And then I might start to really tune into the feeling of the lion. Now, this can come in a few different ways. I could become the lion. So if I was that lion, this comes into a bit of claircognizance as well. If I come into that lion, how am I feeling? Am I like ready to pounce, or am I just like wanting to, calm and be still? Have I already done the hunt and been fed, or am I hungry for something else? But also actually might come into the clair olfactories, the smelling and the tasting of it. So you can really, just from this one card, also, can I feel the lion? Is he feeling soft, or is he, has he molted? Is he hot? You can really come into how this will feel to you. And also, how does this lion make me feel inside? Have I got a feeling in my belly that wants to come out from me? Do I feel scared, or am I pulling back because there's this lion here in my presence, or am I wanting to embody this and move forward? So I can, you can start to bring all of your senses in. You can close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to be this lion now. And all of those, everybody watching this will have a different experience as you start to come into that. And I'll tell you this, I know we're doing this just as an example, but whatever it is that you are experiencing, and, come back and watch this if you want to kind of do it on yourself, or pick yourself a card and do this. Whatever you are experiencing in that moment will be a message for you in some way. So if you are tuning into this lion and feeling like he needs to, come out and say something, maybe there's something in you that wants to roar and wants to, come out and be heard in the world. If you're feeling into the lion, he's hungry and he's ready to go out hunting. This is a message for you that you need to go out and find and create what it is that you are after. Whereas if you're feeling like you have, had your fill, and you have, you have that full belly and you are content, then this is something to say that this is a time for rest. So this is how you can use your different senses to come away from just reading what the book is, or reading what the title is on the bottom of the card. This can really help you go from being good to being great. And this can really help you have deeper insight into what messages are for you, rather than just, oh, I've got a card, it says waking the lion, there's something that needs to wake up in me. You can really go into deep depth just from one card. And it doesn't have to be a card. You can be out walking, and you can, have an intention in mind that you want to find an answer to something. And you can take, this is my pie stone, which has these little portal in it. You can take a hagstone, or even just kind of do this if you want, and just go, okay, I want to find this, and then look around and see where this ends, where this comes to a stop, and then take that example. I mean, I did this once, and I remember, like, I was just walking down this alley and I did that same thing, and I was asking for some guidance on something with my business. And what I saw when I stopped was this, like a kid's football goal there, like in the background. But in front of it was all of these trees and all of, and these bushes and these kind of untamed plants. And it had a message for me that my goal is there, but that it's not a clear path to it, and that there's some work that I need to be done, or I need to navigate through it. So things like that can really, really help you. So Sarah said, calm, ready to take action, warm and relaxed. That is a wonderful space to be in, because it shows that you are ready, that you have your sustenance, that you are full, and that you have your goal. So then you can come into, what's the lion seeing? Where is he going? What is he hunting down? Or what is what is his prey? So you can use that. Now, if I rewind back to the beginning, because we've kind of gone here and there and everywhere, this is really about you understanding and using your senses. So step one is understanding what your dominant sense is. How do we do that? We use our memory, we use our experience, and we listen to our language. We understand if we are saying that, this seems right to me, I can see what you're saying. Or if you are like, he feels really in tune with what I'm doing. Or if, you're like, the vibe was good from there. This shows you whether you are mainly visual or kinesthetic, which is the clair sentience, or auditories, which is the clairaudience. So you can there's many ways that you can do this. And if you're, if you watch TV or you watch these reality shows or whatever, it's a really fabulous way to tune in your senses by listening to people's language about whether they're seeing, hearing, feeling. Because as you become more connected with those, you'll get to know yourself better. Make sense? Hopefully. But I also have some exciting news. So last week I recorded for you a guided meditation which helps you understand which is your dominant clair. It takes you on a journey on an immersive journey, which will help you identify how you experience things for yourself. Okay, so this is how we start. How am I experiencing this journey? And then we come into a space where we start to open up those senses. So in the journey, you are encouraged to come into the other senses that maybe aren't that natural for you. And then just for a little bit of icing on the metaphorical cake, which some of you might be tasting right now, I have included a healing in there of the third eye. So you can connect in with that, that intuitive space, so that you can receive a healing from it, and open up those senses. And then at the end of the meditation, I have left some space for some questions for you that you can ask yourself. And you can note down, so have a pen and paper handy, and you can just note down what is right for you, what you're feeling. And that will really give you a snapshot visual language, a snapshot of where you are with your senses. So I'm making that for anyone who's watching this completely free. It's on my website, which is just coming live, and you can get that on melissa-amos.com/free gift, and it will give you a code just to sign up to my mailing list. So I'd love it if you wanted to come on there. Let's see what Matt said. I feel the lion is resting with his family, hearing his children playing. He is daydreaming, pleasantly exploring. The song I hear is a song of sixpence. That part really resonates. When the pie was open, the birds began to sing, letting his dream with pleasant things. He feels content in doing this. Well, that's wonderful. And I don't believe in coincidences. So maybe there's somebody here watching that's reading that comment that feels resonant into, as we gather as a group, we can often contain that group energy. So before we go, we've got about 5 minutes. I don't know if anybody's got any questions on anything that I have shared. I'd love to hear, or any of your experiences, or even what you think after watching today, whether you can identify as either one of the clairs. But while I'm waiting for you to type your questions, a reminder. So how do we work with this? Do it when you are in the physical. We often want to open that sixth sense, but the trick is to come into your 5 senses first, often. And for me, this was very true when I started on my spiritual journey. When I started with Reiki, I was spending a lot of time out of my body. I wanted to be up in spirit. I wanted, to be with the angels and the divine guidance, but where we are here. So the best way is to be here, use our emotions, feel them, understand that they are our physical messages of what our body is trying to tell us. As we become more involved with ourselves and with the world around us, we will naturally start to become more aware. And as we become more aware, we will become more intuitive. Makes sense to me. So a reminder, if you want to receive your free download, just go onto my website. It's Melissa, 1L, 2 S's, melissa-amos.com/free gift. You'll get a code and you'll get this meditation worth £22, absolutely free, just for you. If there's no questions, I'm gonna go there. But I want to say thanks everyone for tuning in and for making the move to my personal page over my Melissa Amos Intuitive Guidance page. Sarah said thank you, it's amazing, so nice to have this space. Matt said I found it really helpful to develop my less dominant clairs. Thank you. Ainsley said thank you. Oh, it is my absolute pleasure. And if you've liked this, I have got something brewing, and it will be available very shortly. Those of you who receive my free download, you will get the first bit of information on a community where we can really start to share a lot of this stuff. But it's not ready yet, so I'll have to keep you waiting on that. So in the meantime, thank you. Thanks for watching. I have been Melissa. You can reach me at hello@melissa-amos.com, on my website, melissa-amos.com, or here on Facebook. Blessings to you all, and thank you for watching. Bye, Kerry. Bye. Oh, I know, Ainsley, I'm really excited. I'm like, ooh. I love your brews. My brews are brewing, and some have been brewed, but they're just now waiting to cool down a little bit before I drink them, so to speak. I don't know. Yes, they will be available very shortly. Anyway, gonna go because I've got some training on tonight. Bless you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.